Welcome to Weekend Shelf Control with me, Frankie.
And me, Liam.
And we're here with part 2 of what we read in February because we had too many for one video.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen part 1, go check that out. And if you have, well, let's see if the rest of February was better for me and I guess remained consistently decent for you.
Yes, I will say it did improve.
Good.
But you've read more than me, so again, you can kick off.
I will. Okay, so, I mean, and to be fair, I've only read more than you because some of the books I read are very short. So, I mean, this is more of a novella than a book, but the next one that I read in February was Caught in the Spider's Web by Lula Van Goth. And this is a UK indie horror author. I picked this book up from an event that happened last year, which means that I do have a signed copy, which I quite like. This is the first thing I've read by Von Goth. This was good. Again, it's only short, but there is a lot that is packed into this. I will say it is an extreme horror. What I really like about this, though, is on like the second page or so, it has please see the back of the book for trigger warnings. I love that because I 100% think that if you need trigger warnings, they should absolutely be included. But it makes no sense to me why you would include them at the front, because to me it's like, here's a list of spoilers essentially at the start of the book. So including them at the back and having that at the front, if you do want to be sensitive about what you're reading, the information is there and you know where to go to find it. But for those that don't require it, they don't just get confronted with a list of spoilers straight away. So I think that is, in my opinion, the best way to do trigger warnings.
Yeah, I completely agree, because sometimes when they're at the front, you don't have time to realize what you're looking at before you read what the things are. And it's like, oh, well, yes, now I know what's coming up. But yeah, agree with you. They should be there, but they just should not be prominently at the front, I think.
Exactly. So this is a book about a woman named Sarah who, she has not had an easy upbringing. She was sexually abused as a child by various partners of her mum's. She leaves home really young, ends up on the streets, and the book opens with her getting even more horrifically abused, to the point where it lands her in hospital. There is a hospital worker named James who is the one that finds her and brings her to hospital and then routinely checks in on her. And because Sarah has never really known compassion, she completely misconstrues this. And in her mind, she just convinces herself that her and James belong together. Only wrinkle to this is James is married, or engaged to be married, with a pregnant wife. And Sarah decides that, do you know what? This home life of James's is the only thing that's stopping them from being together. And really, if it wasn't for that, James would understand that Sarah's the one that he's meant to be with. So Sarah recovers and follows James home. And I won't say any more because I don't want to go into spoilers, but this was a really good, it was a really heavy read. Like, there was at least one point in this where I was like, I might need to take a little break. And again, it's not a big book, but I just think that Sarah is written in a way where you can understand why she's having the thought process that she's having, but then you're also like, oh no, she's doing horrible things, and this is not good. This is not good at all. And you do feel like you sympathize for her, but then you also massively sympathize for James and what he's going through. And I think it's interesting that there is a bit of a balancing act of like, where do your sympathies lie more for? And yeah, just well written, packs a punch in a very short amount of time. I gave this 4 out of 5. I super enjoyed this, and I'm very much looking forward to reading more of Von Goth's work. I would just say, just if you do have sensitivities to things like sexual, domestic abuse, that kind of stuff, just, read the trigger warnings first, and they're in the back of the book. But yeah, otherwise, would recommend. With the caveat, it's an extreme horror, so just know what you're going into.
My next book, let's see if I can got the.
Oh,
I finally read
exciting.
Dungeon Crawler Carl, and
I'm so excited to hear your thoughts on this.
Everyone was going on about this book, and that worries me because when the hype is that high, I'm like, oh, what if I don't like it? Which is fine if I don't like it, that happens.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to love the thing that pretty much everybody else is loving. So the books are on Kindle Unlimited, which I have at the moment. So I decided to get straight into it this month or in February, and I love a book that just jumps straight into the story. And so very quickly I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like this. I had read the synopsis a while back when I first heard about it, but I had forgotten that when I started reading it, and I had forgotten there was a cat character. So that was fun to rediscover. But so for anyone who doesn't know Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's about a guy who has broken up with his girlfriend, and he's looking after her cat. And one night at like 2 a.m, the cat jumps out a window, gets stuck in a tree. He goes outside to rescue her, and all the structures in the world collapse, and everybody's gone except those who were outside, like he was with the cat. And basically then aliens have come to get
mine
resources.
the planet for resources.
Yeah, and so they have this sort of reality TV style show for the remaining humans. If they get to these dungeons, then they can join the game and try and survive all the different levels. And so book 1 follows, I think, gets to level 2, a little bit into level 2. And I was wondering if it was just going to be like 1 level per book, because the majority of the book is in level 1. But and so I loved the setup of, it's like being in a game fully. And so he has things come up like a menu screen of a game just in front of him and all of that, which is interesting. The cat gets a kind of power up thing, I can't remember, something that makes her able to talk. So I don't remember exactly what it was that...
It's like a pet biscuit that gives her an ability.
Okay. You've got a good memory.
Yeah.
And so she's able to talk to Carl then, which really adds to the thing. So it's basically them figuring out what's going on, trying to survive, trying to, get their experience up and get, rewards for killing the various creatures and things around, meeting some other humans along the way, and and it's all about getting followers and favorites and things on this TV show, which hasn't fully started. Like a lot of the book, it hadn't started yet. They had so many days before it officially began. So I'm still in the beginning stages of that. But yes, I did end up thinking it was super fun. And I did read it pretty quickly because I just always wanted to keep going to see what was going to happen.
Yeah. It is, I would say, because I have read this. So it's an easy read. For me, I wasn't really on board at the start. Like I was reading it, and when you're doing the setup, like before they go into the dungeon, I was very much like, what's all the fuss about? But then as soon as they get to the dungeon, it started to click for me. And I was like, okay, I'm getting into it. And then when the cat Princess Donut eats that biscuit, then I was like, right, I get it now. I think the sense of humor in this book is really good. It can at sometimes be a little bit immature, but I am immature, so it works for me. The video game concept, I think, is beautifully executed. Where if you do certain things, you get achievements, and the computer AI has a very distinctive personality. So when it gives these achievements, there is a lot of humor, I think, to be found there.
Yeah, those menu description things.
Yeah.
That come up, very entertaining.
Exactly. That idea of having to manage like hit points and mana and all that sort of thing, again, very video gamey. Leveling up like spells and abilities and that kind of stuff. You can have like armor and equipment that will increase your stats, and I think there would be a risk in a book like this of getting too into the stat side of things, that I think Matt Dinniman quite neatly manages to give you like enough, and if you wanted to track it out and follow it, you could, but doesn't kind of like labor the point too much. And I also really like the idea of the bosses, like the different bosses that they encounter, and there is an element of threat, I would say, in this, where it doesn't just feel like they're going to steamroll everything. And there are real moments where it's like, how are they going to get out of this? For me, the only criticism that I had, that I do think is prevalent in the first book, and it remains in like book 2 and 3, and I think it starts getting a bit better in book 4, is Carl will be presented with a problem, and then he'll solve the problem, and then after the fact kind of explain the thought process and how he figured out the solution. Whereas the way I like to read books is I like it when you present your character with a problem, you get to read them solutionizing it, and then as you're reading them trying to enact that solution, things start going wrong. So then you're like, oh, how are they going to navigate around this? Whereas the way that this book does it is it's kind of like everything happens this way, and then afterwards it's like, and let me just explain how I knew how it would all happen this way. And that just, for me, isn't the more fun way of dealing with problem solving in books. But that was my only like minor quibble.
Which obviously isn't a thing for me because I didn't notice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm hopefully going to pick up book 2 this month as my Kindle Unlimited book. I'm trying to do one per month with Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Or at least one per month, which seemed easy in theory, but because I have so many physical books I want to read, yeah. But anyway, I'm still on that 99 cents 3-month thing, so at least if I don't read a book this month, it's 30 cents wasted. So
Yeah. Well, I've as you can see in my collection back here, I've read the first 5 so far, so I've still got 2 to go before whenever the next one comes out. But I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to space them out a bit. I'm trying to do like one every 2 or 3 months, because I don't want to get to having a really long wait for the next one to come out, which is eventually going to happen, but I'm trying to stall that as much as I can.
Yeah, I think too, for me anyway, being the type of book it is, like I wouldn't want to binge the series because I feel like that would be too much. So, but because it's still new and exciting, I'm like, I just want to see what book 2 is like, and then I'll probably space them out a bit more after that. Maybe not. We'll see. But
See what you think.
Yeah, I guess it depends how many other books I get to and how long it takes me to read them when I go back. But yes, for now, I think based on the first book, it's going to be a great series to go through over the year.
Rating?
5 stars.
Oh, that's a high. Yeah, I think I went 4 when I read it.
Because I just always wanted to read it and see what was happening next. It was funny.
Yeah.
I liked the characters. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes, and I think for me where it really cemented itself as me being like, I'm gonna really enjoy this, is I'm trying to do it with like as minimal spoilers as possible. But I believe there is a boss that is established, but is somewhat related to a kind of orphanage situation, and something happens there which triggers an achievement that I thought was just ridiculously funny.
Yeah. Yeah, actually there was some things in it that I thought were quite interesting. Like that you wouldn't really expect.
Yes.
And the way the AI's description of things in those achievements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell you what, if this happened in real life, I would hope I was in a house at the time, because I would be one that was just dead before it even started.
Yeah, I think if this happened in real life, I would hate it. I would love to play a video game version of this book, though. I feel like that would be so much fun. Like, it'd be a nightmare to try and code. But...
I feel like this would be a great TV show, like an animated show, because I think you would need that to be able to fully, properly have it look.
I would love to see them try and do it realistically, but I don't think they'd be able to pull it off necessarily. But I would love to see them try.
It would be a really expensive show, I think, to have any hope of pulling it off. Although, who would you cast as Carl?
Oh, that's an excellent question that I haven't really given a lot of consideration to. I feel like Ryan Gosling would be an interesting choice. I'm picturing him, particularly like him in like The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
So that was the name of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
that was
Who have you got in mind?
I haven't. I was just trying to think, because that question just popped in my head when you said that. But the
other one, what's his face? Glenn Powell?
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. He's known for those kind of roles. That
again, him in The Running Man, I could see some sort of like parallel there, maybe.
Yeah. I'd be happy with either of those two.
And now, who would you cast as Princess Donut to do the voice?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really know voice actors.
For some reason, I don't know why, my mind's going to Anne Hathaway. I have no reason why. Yeah, I just feel like that would be interesting.
I can see that. Yeah. Anyway, I'll think about it, and then when I read the next book, maybe we'll revisit.
Anyone watching this, if they've got good ideas, drop a comment down below. Let us know who you would cast in Dungeon Crawler Carl. Okay, so my next book was another, because February is a short month, I thought I'm going to try and prioritize some of my short story collections. There's a logic there. So I picked this up last October, November time. It's called Unquiet Guests. It's got the suede edges. Very minimalistic, but like interesting cover design.
Yeah.
It's 10 short stories, and there's some real interesting names that have contributed to this. So Grady Hendrix is one of the authors. So this was my first time reading anything by him. You've also got Matthew Holness, who I don't know if this ever made it like outside of the UK, but back in like the 2000s, he did a TV show called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Oh yeah, I know.
So he's like the Garth Marenghi in it, and he has since then written books as Garth Marenghi. So I was curious to read what his writing was like, and then the main reason why I picked this up is because it's got a short story by Chuck Palahniuk in it, and I went through a huge Chuck phase when I was a teenager, and I started rereading his books a few years ago, and I just abandoned it for some reason. At some point I want to go back into it, but I love his kind of minimalistic writing style, so it's like, you know what, it's been a while since I've had a Chucky P fix. Maybe a short story will help. the theme is kind of like haunted houses, essentially.
Nice.
I would say some of these stories tap into that theme more effectively than others. Um, the notable mentions for this that I have called out is the Grady Hendrix one, which opens up the book, which is called "I Am the House," which is told from the house's perspective. Some of it works really well. Some of it is a little bit doesn't quite work brilliantly, but like there's some really good moments where the house is getting annoyed when the family that move in have children, and the children just aren't being respectful to the property, and they're like drawing on the walls and things like that. And it's kind of funny that the house is just getting a bit like irate about this. Um, and then the Matthew Holness one, Tearaways, which is about these two guys who are in their 40s who go to a school that they went to that's getting torn down, so it's like abandoned now, and they're kind of going through the different classrooms and school halls and reliving memories, and that worked quite well. But again, it was an interesting, slightly different take on a haunted house, more like a haunted building. And then the Chucky P that I did read this for, which was called Custodian. It's kind of underwhelming, to be honest, which is a little disappointing. And I would say, in all honesty, the majority of these short stories were kind of underwhelming. They either just didn't really feel like they went anywhere significant, so you're just like, oh, I've just read that for no real reason, or it just didn't really give me much to kind of chew on. Like, you read it and you're like, okay, yeah, that happened. Like, there was nothing that was like, oh, I liked that, or oh, I'll think about that. Like, it didn't feel like there was some really good ideas bubbling away in these short stories. And I don't know if that was because of the limitation of, well, we have to tie them into a haunted house theme, which should open up a wealth of good ideas. I don't know. It just, yeah, I gave it 2 out of 5.
Oh.
Yeah, it was underwhelming. And so this is edited by Dan Coxon, and he's got like a little intro, and it's very academically written, which kind of is weird juxtaposed with the rest of the books that are very fiction. So it's like, I don't know if he's taken an academic approach into like compiling these authors and the stories. I don't know. It just, that kind of like set things up in a way that immediately was just like, okay, I thought this could be intriguing. And then so many of the stories just didn't really do anything with the idea that I thought ended up being intriguing. So it's just like, yeah, it was not as good as I was hoping it would be.
So are you going to read some Grady Hendrix, like novels?
I am planning to, and if our viewers come back for our March book haul, they might be pleasantly surprised.
I
do
interested
already
to see which ones.
Yeah, I do already have a Grady Hendrix on my shelf, which was My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Oh yes.
Which I haven't read that yet. So this is my first.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah, this is my first Grady Hendrix foray. It was good enough to make me want to read more.
I think I've read 3 or 4 of his books.
Okay, I'm curious if the one I picked up is one that you have read or not.
Yes, we shall see.
Yeah.
Okay, my final book I read in February was Carrie for our Stephen King project. So we have a video all about Carrie, so go watch that for more discussion. But I quite liked this book. It was interesting because it's quite short for King, but I feel like it still had a lot of his style of, you know, fleshing out characters, even ones that are not the main characters. And so I thought, even though I know the story from the movie, I still found it quite a gripping read. I feel like it had good atmosphere in the build up to the prom night. So especially the part 2 of this, I really enjoyed reading. So it was a good end to the month.
And Carrie is iconic, right? So like, worth giving a go, just to say you've read it, if anything.
Yes, so it's quite interesting starting this project to see his writing over time. From this sort of novel that's so short for him, and how it builds into, I mean, obviously it happens very quickly because the original version of The Stand, was published earlier than I expected. But yes, would be interesting
79
to
or something,
read
wasn't it? 78, 79?
Something, it's really early, because I just always assumed it was the 90s, because I guess that's when the Uncut came out and that's when I read it. So I think of it as being a 90s book. But yeah,
I think in my mind I know that it's before 1984, because I know in the Uncut version he references A Nightmare on Elm Street, but that isn't in the original version. So the original version has to be before 1984. For that reason alone.
There we go.
I will say, I doing the same as you, as reading them in order. I think the first 3 or 4 maybe, there was a recurring thing that I noticed, that then he wrote a book that felt like it was almost specifically trying to address that criticism, and I'm going to be really curious to see if you pick up on it, if it bothers you in the same way that it bothered me, and then if you notice him directly trying to address it or not. I'm very curious.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah. Okay, so my last book of the month, I co-host a silent book club where a group of people go to like a coffee shop or a pub or something, introduce yourselves for half an hour, read quietly together for an hour, whatever it is you might be reading. So it's a good way to get to know what other people are reading. And then afterwards, you spend half an hour chatting about what you read, if you liked it. It's just a nice way to talk to fellow book lovers and do a bit of reading as well. I have cultivated, let's say, a bit of a reputation for the sorts of books that I read. So I now just deliberately look for fun books to take that I think will be fun to talk about and see people's reactions. So this month, I took The Bug Collector by Rath James White. This is just a striking cover, isn't it? That is an image. I've read a couple of Rath James White's short stories that have been collected in anthologies, and I've really liked his writing. He writes very considerately, typically around LGBTQ kind of characters will be involved. Won't necessarily interrogate the topics, but will have good kind of characterizations that get included. This is just such an interesting book. So, I will say there is a trigger warning on the back. It just says, this is a Rath James White novella. That's all you need to know.
So be prepared for anything, I assume that means.
I will say the trigger warning here is included at the front, which I didn't love. What I did think was quite sweet was the first page has I don't know if you can read that, a to mum dedication, which I think is sweet, because bear in mind, this is what the book is about. You follow Joey, who has it's described here as a unique paraphilia, in that he likes to acquire, collect sexually transmitted infections. Hence, he is the bug collector. So his goal is to try to receive all of the STDs that he can, with the key goal being HIV. That's like for those that are bug collectors, that's their holy grail. And what this book follows is a previous partner of James, of Joey, let's say, like someone that he was intimate with, tracks him down. Isn't particularly happy with the fact that he passed on some unwanted diseases to this prostitute. So she takes him to a warehouse, ties him up, and tortures him to essentially try and understand why. Like, one, why did he give her these things? And two, why is he this bug collector, and what happened in his life that got him into this? So you kind of have that as your device of revealing more about Joey's history and his past. It's a nasty, disgusting book. That there are moments that I was reading this and I was like, oh, that is grim, just absolutely grim. And what I really like about this as well is each chapter has like a few words that appear later on in the chapter, so you get like a little preview, and I'll read out just a couple, just to give some idea. So chapter 2, for example, blood, semen, and some yellow and green liquid.
Ew.
So that's going to appear later on in the chapter. I'm not going to read that one. I'm not gonna read that one. I'm trying to find some that. Yeah, no. Most of these I probably shouldn't read, just for not getting flagged on YouTube. But yeah, this was just such a good read. And I know it's weird to say that about a book like this, but one of the reasons why I like reading books in this genre is because they make you feel things. This was not boring. There was no point in this where I was like, oh, I'm bored of this. Things happen. They're not nice things. They are disgusting, gross, horrible, putrid things. But that's interesting. Like, that's why I like reading these books, because I don't typically, thankfully, get exposed to that kind of thing. So, yeah, this I gave 4 out of 5. Again, it's another little short one. I just had a blast with it, though. I really did. I just thought the idea was great. The execution was great. Yeah, it's one hell of a read. And then the best thing is, at my little Summit Book Club, I get to talk to people about this, and they just sit there going, please stop. We don't want to hear anymore. Just please stop.
Yeah. I know from talking about horror to people who aren't into horror, I can only imagine something like that.
Yeah. Hence the reputation. I did get asked. I had it out on the table, and someone was like, "Do you mind just flipping it over to the other side so we don't have to look at the cover?" Which, fair enough. I obliged, but I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. That is my book of the month for February.
Nice. Mine was Dungeon Crawler Carl, obviously, my lone 5-star in between all the 3.5s. So, but yes, a good month overall. I liked all my books, so that's a win.
Good. Yeah, I had I'd say a decent month, like a couple of misses, but some real good ones in there as well. Like I'm very stingy with my rating, so I will rarely give even a 4. So to hit 4, like to hit 2 4-star books in 1 month for me is pretty good.
And you had short story collections, which are always
hit and miss.
Yeah, and so at least you had some good stories, even though overall it wasn't so great.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I do tend to it's why I kind of use February as an excuse to read more of them, because I don't typically gravitate towards them because of that. It's going to be hit and miss. Like, I know going into it, I think I've only ever read one where the vast majority were hits, and I was like, this is a very pleasant surprise. But usually there's like an equal amount of hits and misses, I would say. Well, hopefully, if you can remember all the way back to February to what you read, let us know if you had a good reading month. Otherwise, we will eventually catch up, so don't worry about that. This is still new. We're still playing catch up to the year. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing our thoughts on the... How many books did we cover off there? 10?
10 altogether, yeah.
10 books, that's not bad for February, is it? So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed hearing our thoughts on those. If you've read any of the books we've read, chat to us about it in the comments down below. If you've got any suggestions, because hopefully after that, people might start getting an idea of what our tastes are like. So if there's any books that you think we might enjoy, could be fun to start compiling a list of like viewer recommendations. So again, just drop a comment down below, let us know. And otherwise, we'll see you next time for some more book talk.